It's the All New Power Mornings with Letty and Teddy and my guy Javen right here. It has been an honor all morning long and all week long to honor the legacy of MLK, Martin Luther King Jr. And this is like an incredible cherry on top to just the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Symphony of Brotherhood Rise is a new song dropped by our guy Flo Rida, who's here with us, Miri Ben-Ari, and Eric E. Smooth Hicks. I know he's here with us in spirit. And so is MLK, but we have Miri and we have Flo Rida with us. You know, we've had a chance to listen and play the song, and it feels like something he would be proud of. A lot of times people revamp songs or sample songs, you know, and you don't know whether it would do right by the legacy of Dr. King. And first of all, just thank you for bringing this record together. Thank you both.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Now, when getting this like sample clearance, I'm sure Miri, you've been in the game a long time. You've gotten some incredible credentials under your belt. I know still with that, it must have been like a heavy uphill battle to kind of get something like this okayed. How did you guys feel when you knew, like, okay, we're going to add the Dream Speech by MLK on this song?
So first of all, thank you so much for having us. And thanks for saying that MLK would be proud.
It's amazing.
Oh man, I mean, thank you. Thanks for playing the song. So this song has gone through evolution. He started with an instrumental version of a violin song featuring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream. Many years ago when I was a student studying jazz music, and I was just so inspired by the message and legacy of Dr. King. I went to Atlanta to visit the MLK Museum. I think it was at the time of the Trumpet Award. I don't know if you remember, like back in the days when I just started. And so I bought the CD of all of his speeches, not only that particular one, because when I do something, I like to just know what I'm doing and really study and research. And so I went back in the studio, and with my brother Ohad, we created Symphony of Brotherhood, the very instrumental version. And everyone told me there is no way in the world that state would ever clear this record. And you know what? They listened to the record, and after 2 days, they cleared it.
Wow.
It was like, oof, can you imagine? I grew up in Israel in a small town, and there I am as a student clearing this sample. It was insane. And so I felt that I was carrying this responsibility of creating a full version that would hold and not only just hold the integrity, but make it rise. And it wasn't up until a few months ago that I connected with Eric Hicks, that is not with us today, who took this record and blessed us with the most incredible and inspiring gospel lead. I don't even know how to call it, chorus, vocals, and passed the baton to Flo, who just delivered an extraordinary performance that completed this very song.
No, that you guys did amazing. To your point, the gospel influence. Can you give us a little more insight on how? Of course, Dr. Martin Luther King is was a preacher. Can you give us a little more insight on what it's like to now? You guys did varying genres of music. What is it like crossing over to that element once the gospel element was added to the song? Does it add a little pressure? Does it make it easier? I know you guys, I don't know. I'm assuming you guys come from, somewhat of a churchy background. How does that gospel influence, affect you when now you're hearing the song and now the feelings that come along with that?
Flo, you want to take this one?
Oh yeah, for myself, I grew up, most importantly, thank you all for having us once again.
Of course.
But yeah, I grew up in a household, where my grandfather was a preacher, my sisters, I have like 7 sisters, they grew up singing gospel. They have a gospel group. And that wasn't far-fetched from myself, thanks to Miri and thanks to E, who reached out to me, and was just like, Flo, I need you to get on this record. And when I heard, what it was, I was like, wow, this is, the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on here. I was very hesitant when they asked me But I knew in doing this, I needed to really, take this, very serious because, right now what we're going through in the world, we needed something that's very purposeful, that the world can feel. So with me going in the booth, a lot of times I go in and I write lyrics down, but this time it was more so of a freestyle. And I just wanted people to feel, that anointing I felt when hearing Miri and my brother Eric Hicks, just from hearing the track alone. If you hear the track, it's just like overwhelming. As soon as Miri come on playing, playing her part, it was just like overwhelming. But yeah, it wasn't far-fetched for myself because I'm a guy who puts faith first. This is a dream come true. I would say priceless, going back to what you guys said, because I remember being a little kid in elementary school and we were supposed to have Martin Luther King Jr.'s son come out to the school and he had an emergency and he couldn't make it. Oh, wow. So I dealt with this like just growing up, like, man, I would have had a chance to meet Martin Luther King Jr.'s son. And here it is, full circle. God has blessed me to be on this record. So, I've done a lot of great records, but this means the most to me. This is the biggest joy of all, to do something that's so purposeful, with someone that believed in equality for all and justice and peace and love for all.
Yes.
Man, I can only imagine.
Look, Flo, even when we're listening to the record and we're listening to, like, we're little hip hop heads and we're listening to your verse and it's like, we know Flo can go on the records that we know him for. We know him for the party records. He can go mainstream with it too. But the fact that you gave so much, it's tripping me out that you're saying this was a freestyle. That's because crazy. We're like, he had to elevate his pen game when he did this verse because it meant so much and it sounds like so much. So whatever the anointing was on you, you need to pass that oil on over.
Right.
We need to have some of that too. No, Miri, I want to talk to you too because I guess, like, again, we talk about your credentials in the game. We talk about the way that you can organize and get songs together. And you've done this for a long time. We were talking about what the path is for someone to become like a professional violinist or what is your even title? I feel like an artist is kind of the all-encompassing, but what do you start if someone wants to be like you? What's the path like? I know, right?
I don't even know how to answer this one. It's kind of an anomaly. I grew up in Israel. I mean, look at Flo and myself. We come from different continents, different parts of the world, different cultures, different religions, different languages, different everything. I play violin, he raps. I mean, what?
Right.
And here we are creating Symphony of Brotherhood Rise featuring MLK. I mean, this is music. This is where music takes you. I grew up in Israel with a dream of communicating through the violin, which is my very voice, to other cultures, other musical genres. And I came to the US to learn how to improvise music. You see, I started with jazz music, with Black music. This is my education. And so it wasn't that I took classical music, which I'm very rooted at. I mean, I received my first violin from the legendary Isaac Stern. I won as a child a lot of competitions in classical music, but I took that technique and I learned how to improvise Black music. And that was the transition. A lot of people don't really realize what was the path. It's not that you can play an instrument and then just transform it to something else. You need to study, you need to learn, you need to know your craft. And so after that, I created a few albums in jazz. As a matter of fact, Wynton Marsalis is on my very last album. And only then Wyclef Jean, Jay-Z, and Kanye West discovered me. Wow. So it was, I paid a lot of dues, a lot of nights of playing in every jazz club and every R&B open mic in New York, just to practice and just get my butt kicked and get better and better and better, There's, I like to hustle and train and be just the student of this world. You can always learn. I mean, I learned so much just by collaborating with E and Flo. Look at Flo; he's a hit maker. He sold what is it like, Flo? 106 million records.
Who's counting?
Still counting.
Right.
And he created this anointed verse on this very record. Can you imagine what it means to the young generation that is watching this hip-hop superstar creating this meaningful body of work? This is incredible, just the impact of that alone.
Oh yeah,
man, 100%. So just to piggyback really quickly, I'm curious. You put in all of the work with your violin. You started off as a young girl just wanting to make music. What is the most interesting place that violin, that instrument, your passion that you love so much? What is the most interesting place that has taken you along your journey?
So many interesting places, from the Apollo in New York, the performance that honored me with an Apollo legend, to Summer Jam with Jay-Z.
Whoa, that's big.
To the Grammys with Kanye West, to the White House. The very instrumental version of this song was requested by the Obamas, and Michelle Obama honored me for this song, for the very original version. To the United Nations, I'm a Goodwill Ambassador of Music to the UN, and the violin took me to the assembly room to talk and just share my experience through music.
Yeah, man, that's inspirational in itself. Look, Flo Rida, I feel like we just mentioned about like your music and your background, like you could like Mariah Carey, low-key, you could just not make another song and you'd be good.
Man.
But there's a reason why you're still creating, and there's something that I feel like you still have more to give. And I think that once you're hip-hop, no matter where you go, you always come back to the roots. You always come back to center. And I think that even you, having been in music since you were a kid, since you were young, you were like in a rap group, right? Like all of that stuff, it still must follow you today. Like, do you still have that hunger of like, I am who I am, but I still want to give more? Or what has that turned into for Flo Rida? How do you see yourself giving back?
I'm glad you said that, because, prior to me getting on, it took, plenty of years. I started out just playing around with, hip hop music just 9 years old. I didn't make it till I was 27 years old.
Damn.
And it just shows, I had no idea. I'm a guy, like I said, I'm very faithful. And I understand that when you put, God first, miraculous things happen just as doing this record right here, and I was just being on a plane, I'm in Dubai right now, but I was on a plane and I was just looking at Tina Turner's career. She didn't really evolve to a whole nother plateau until late in the game. Yeah. And, she's a rock star legend. So that's how I sit for myself, because, I've been a fan of, plenty of people. I've been on tours, won a Grammy or so, and done some of the impossible things. I just wanted to be someone who was playing on a local radio, and then God have it, I'm just international, thanks to the fans around the world, which I call my family.
Yeah.
But yeah, I state this, I've been driven since the day I started, and I realized that, even having, being successful as I am, I need everyone out there to know that regardless if you have fame or not, someone is watching you. I understand that what I've accomplished, so many people are inspired, and I want to just continue inspired, because I feel like what is there to be on earth, or be in this world if you're not giving? I'm a big giver, and I understand that there's more purpose in doing music than just doing it to please myself.
Man, Now, Flo, you literally just said it. You was just a kid that your dream was to be on the radio, and now you amassed international success. Can you speak to some of the, I want to say, like the differences between being, a superstar here domestically where you're from, in your city, and then outside of your city into the country, and then expanding to places that you've never been, languages that you've never heard spoke or heard before? Like, what is that experience like?
I mean, it's so amazing because, believe it or not, I've always been a very shy, low-key guy.
Wow.
When a lot of people, even from high school, heard that, I was rapping and things like that, they were so surprised. But, there's a lot of similarities, and there's a lot of differences in being a worldwide superstar versus someone who's just nationally known. And I've been fortunate, shout out to T-Pain and shout out to DJ Monte, who collaborated with me on the track Low. That record took me some places where, early in my career, I've never been back there because of the fact that, I've been having to maximize myself going other places.
Yeah.
But, that record alone took me some places that some of your household name rappers have never even touched.
Man,
and they always commend me. They always commend me, but I don't take it for granted. And like I said, man, I've asked, I've been asked God for these things, and he's given me an overflow of blessings to be a blessing. So I mean, to those out there who dreaming, once God puts his hands on it, I mean, there's no limit.
Man, talk about
being of service. I think that's the biggest thing you can give back to the world, and it always comes back to you. Like, my cup runneth over, let me pour into other people. I do have a funny question though, Flo Rida, because I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me just finish it, okay, before you judge me. Do you regret your name because every time you Google Flo Rida, you get like Florida man, sticks, pencil, and eye, or things like that. Like you really can't Google Flo Rida because all the Florida stuff comes in. And
not at all, man, because first and foremost, I love the state in which I was born.
Yes.
You know, but you know, and I love them. You know, I grew up in a family with 7 siblings, so I love, you know, joking around. I love the comedy. So a lot of times my fans, if they don't know me, you know, they find a way to make it parallel to myself, and they, you know, those who don't know me, they get a chance to know me, and they're like, I didn't know you did this song, song, and that song, like that. So it's a blessing.
Yeah, I saw this this fun fact that McAfee, the virus, the spyware, like
software, right,
virus stuff, they said that people Google Flo Rida a lot, that it's like people are using that to send out viruses. I hope you've never been
scanned by your own name.
No,
sorry to bring it up. Maybe change your passwords, just to be safe. Just to be safe. No, but it's been great having you guys on. Do you want to
I do want to, you know, ask one more question. It is Martin Luther King weekend. We're celebrating. And you know, Martin Luther King's legacy is often, you know, focused on overcoming, facing obstacles and not letting those obstacles define you, but, you know, overcoming those things. So I'm curious, this is a question to both of you. What are some of those moments in your career as a violinist, as a rapper, as a hip hop artist, where it gets hard and you want to quit and you feel like, man, maybe my passion isn't enough to carry me? What is that moment and how do you get through it?
I cannot even tell you how many times in my career I heard the word no. But it didn't mean anything to me. It was just not now. And I just took that opportunity to think and come back at it with a different approach. And so I have done with this very classical instrument things that were never done before.
Talk about
I'm
it.
the first in so many things. I'm first violinist to be featured in hip-hop, commercial hip-hop music and music videos. I'm the first violinist to be featured in EDM music with Armin van Buuren. First violinist to be featured in African music, recently with Diamond Platnumz. First violinist to be featured in Latin music with Aventura. And I'm talking as a feature, not in a background, not on the side, not like as a featured artist.
They call for you.
They call for me, for my playing, for my image, for what I bring on stage, for who I am as an artist. It's a completely different approach to what people are used to have versus what I presented to the world. And I did that not only for me, I did it for the next generation, because this is not only my dream. There's so many little violinists, little instrumentalists that are playing and practicing their instruments out there. And they need to know that this is possible. That dream is possible. Look, I made this happen. They can make it happen too.
Man, I love that. You're so inspirational. I love that.
Thank you.
Flo.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, for myself, you know, my mom, she plays a major part in me being so faithful. I just seen how, you know, loyal she was growing up, how, you know, raising a single parent home, you know, me having 7 sisters, me being the only boy, the youngest.
Oh, wow.
So that was the thing that I had to overcome. Just being the youngest, the only boy, it was just like, I had to, you know, sometimes I would look in the mirror and say, there's got to be something special about myself. But, you know, growing up in the projects, you know, it wasn't like, you know, right next door I had, you know, my friends and things like that. And thank God I had, you know, positive role models around me as well. But yeah, my mom, you know, she's the one that just believed in me. You know, I've seen a lot of people around me, different sacrifices. A lot of people around me made a lot of sacrifices of, you know, doing positive things. And I just watched that and let that influence me versus the negativity that was around me. So just the little goals that I accomplished, meant so much to me. And like, Miri, hats off to you, Miri, man.
Yeah.
Every day, you know, we do these interviews and I see so many things you accomplish, man. God bless you. And I, you know, I'm happy just to, you know, have been one of these guys that, you know, in school as a child, you know, just watching Martin Luther King Jr., his legacy has definitely inspired me. Just to see that strong speech, that I Have a Dream speech, that does something to you. So that alone is something that was very motivating and, you know, and have me where I'm at today.
Man, just really quick, did you guys know each other before this song, or was this the opportunity that you guys were able to come together?
There's nothing like God's timing,
each other.
Facts.
Yeah.
It feels like
the nice thing is we get to know each other every interview. Like
Right.
I feel like I know Flo's mom and I never met her.
Right.
That's awesome.
That's
Go to
amazing.
Dubai. You'll meet her.
Right.
No, Flo, coming in hot again. Look, you know, I don't know if you've heard, but everyone does like these hip hop Mount Rushmores. We have one out here on the West Coast, the Cali Mount Rushmore, and it gets a lot of heat because it's either Snoop, Dre, Pac, what have you. If you were to do a Florida Mount Rushmore, who would you put on it? It's 4 faces on Mount Rushmore. Who would be your Florida Mount Rushmore?
Put you on a spot.
Look, you can already put yourself up there. You can put yourself up there.
Man, you know what? I'll make this simple.
Okay.
I'll just put, you know, and I think everyone would agree. I love everybody in Miami. You know, you guys have definitely inspired me. But I'll just put the 2 Live crew.
All 4.
Okay. Okay, good answer.
Great answer. Great answer. No one can have trouble with that, man. We love the record Symphony of Brotherhood Rise, featuring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., man, Flo Rida Miri Ben-Ari, Eric E. Smooth Hicks, Power 106. We are here for you guys. We appreciate that you guys even had a chance to speak with us. This record is going to live longer than all of us, and it's going to inspire people from now to forever. Amen. So thank you so much for Zooming with us and for talking to us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all so much. God bless. Thank you for having me.
God bless you. Thank you, Miri.
Thank you for everyone. Thank you, guys. And thank you for everyone who is listening to this record and carrying the message, this dream. Thank you, guys. We love you.
Thank you.
Love you.